What if I told you that one of the most hyped games of 2020 turned out to be one of the biggest flops of the year? And what if I told you that that same game has now been appraised by players and critics alike? Sounds unbelievable, right? Well, that's exactly what's happened with Cyberpunk 2077. Hello there! Welcome to my video essay on Cyberpunk 2077, the game that has gone through a roller coaster of hype, disappointment, controversy, and redemption. In this video essay, I'll explore the reasons why Cyberpunk 2077 has seemingly overcome its challenges and improved its quality with patches, updates, and DLCs. I will also share my own perspectives on the game, being a first-time player post Phantom Liberty. But before we dive into that, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more video essays. So, how did this happen? How did Cyberpunk go from failure to a success? And what can we learn from its journey? Stay tuned to find out. Cyberpunk 2077 is an open-world action role-playing game developed by CD Projekt Red, the studio behind the critically acclaimed The Witcher series. The game is based on the Cyberpunk franchise, a tabletop role-playing game created by Mike Pondsmith in 1988. The game is set in Night City, a dystopian megacity in California where technology, crime, and social inequality are rampant. The game follows the story of V, a mercenary who gets involved in a dangerous heist that could change their fate and the fate of the city. The game was first announced in May 2012 with a teaser trailer that generated a lot of buzz and excitement amongst gamers and fans of the cyberpunk genre. The game was then in development over 8 years, during which it underwent several delays and changes. During this time, the game was hyped as one of the most ambitious and innovative games ever made, with promises of a vast and immersive world, a branching and impactful story, a deep and customizable character system, and a stunning and realistic graphics engine. The hype for the game grew over the years, especially after the release of some cinematic trailers that showed the game's visuals, characters, and atmosphere. Some of the highlights include the gameplay demo in 2018 that revealed some of the game's features and mechanics, such as character creation, combat, hacking, driving, and exploration. The cinematic trailer in 2019 that introduced Keanu Reeves as Johnny Silverhand, a legendary rocker boy who becomes V's digital companion. The gameplay demo in 2019 that showed some of the game's locations and quests, such as Pacifica, Lizzie's Bar, and the Animals. The Night City Wire episodes in 2020 that showcased some of the game's aspects and details, such as gangs, weapons, music, vehicles, life paths, and braindance. Cyberpunk also received a lot of pre-order numbers and awards before its launch, such as the most pre-ordered PC game ever according to CD Projekt Red, the most wanted game of 2019 according to Golden Joystick Awards, the best PC game, the best roleplay game, the best of Gamescom, and the most wanted consumer award according to Gamescom Awards 2020. With such high expectations and anticipation, Cyberpunk seemed destined to be a masterpiece that would revolutionize the gaming industry and culture. But things did not go as planned. Cyberpunk was finally released on December the 10th, 2020, after several delays and controversies. However, instead of being greeted with praise and applause, the game was met with disappointment and outrage. The game was plagued with technical issues and bugs that made it unplayable or unbearable for many players. Some of the problems include poor performance and optimization on consoles and low-end PCs, frequent crashes and freezes, graphical glitches and errors, missing or broken features and mechanics, inconsistent and nonsensical AI behaviour, broken or incomplete quests, and false or misleading advertising. Some of the most notorious examples include the famous T-pose glitch that made NPCs stand still with their arms stretched out like crucifixes, the disappearing NPCs that made Night City feel empty and lifeless, the corrupted save files that made players lose all their progress, the misleading review embargo that prevented critics from showing their own footage or reviewing console versions, and the false promises of a refund policy that left players frustrated and confused. The game was so bad, it became the subject of many memes and jokes on the internet, such as the Cyberpunk 2077's slogan that mocked the game's quality and state, and the Cyberpunk 2077 versus GTA 5 meme that compared the game's features and mechanics with a 7-year-old game. The game was so bad that it received a lot of backlash and criticism from players and critics alike, such as the low user scores and reviews on Metacritic and Steam, the negative press coverage and articles on various gaming websites and magazines, the class action lawsuits and investigations from investors and regulators, and the removal of the game from PlayStation Store and the offer of refunds from Sony and Microsoft. Cyberpunk was released in such a bad state that it damaged the reputation and credibility of CD Projekt Red, the studio that was once praised and respected for its quality and ethics. On top of that, the studio faced a lot of accusations and allegations, such as mismanagement in crunch culture, false and deceptive marketing, and the betrayal of trust and goodwill. Cyberpunk 2077 was a disaster that disappointed millions of players and fans, tarnished the image of CD Projekt Red, and stained the legacy of the Cyberpunk franchise. It seemed like there was no hope for the game to recover or redeem itself. But things didn't end there. CD Projekt Red did not give up on Cyberpunk. The studio apologised for the state of the game at launch and promised to fix it with patches and updates. On top of that, the studio also released a roadmap for future improvements and content additions, and offered free DLCs and refunds to players who were unhappy with their purchase. Since this promise, CD Projekt Red has delivered on a series of improvements such as patch 1.2, which fixed over 500 bugs and glitches, and patch 2.0, which overhauled the game's mechanics, graphics, and UI, showing the dedication from the development team. The studio has also announced plans for more free DLCs in the future, as well as paid expansions that will add new stories and areas to explore. As a result of these efforts, Cyberpunk 2077 has seen a significant improvement in its reception and performance. Many players and critics have revisited the game and praised the game's improvements and additions. The game has also seen an increase in its sales and player base, as well as winning several awards and nominations for its achievements in storytelling, art direction, music, and innovation. Cyberpunk 2077 has managed to redeem itself in the eyes of many players and critics, and has proven to be a game worth playing and experiencing. But why is it redeemed? And why do players like the game now? This is where flow comes in. If you watched my videos before, you know that flow is a psychological state of optimal experience and engagement that occurs when a player is fully immersed in an activity that matches their skills and challenges. As I've never played Cyberpunk, I thought I would give my own reflections on the flow of the game. Firstly, let's review character creation and customization. Cyberpunk has an extensive amount of choice to create your own version of V, the protagonist of the game. You can choose your own gender, appearance, voice, background, attributes and skills. These choices can affect how the game unfolds and how you interact with the world and the characters around you. You can also modify your character with cyberware, which are implants that enhance your abilities and appearance. For me, I found that the cyberware enhancements were a unique mechanic that created enough trade-off considerations which affected my gameplay experience. For example, I chose to install a cyberware that increased my reflexes and accuracy with guns, which suited my playstyle of shooting enemies from a distance. However, this also meant that I had to sacrifice some of my health and stamina, which made me more vulnerable in close combat. This created a challenge for me to balance my strengths and weaknesses and also to adapt to different situations. Secondly, let's take a look at quest design and structure. The game features a main storyline that follows these quests to find a way to survive after being implanted with a biochip that contains the digital ghost of a legendary rocker boy named Johnny Silverhand. The main storyline is divided into several acts that progress the plot and introduce new characters and locations. The game also features several side quests that are optional but can provide more depth and detail to the world and the characters. Some of the side quests are related to specific characters or factions that you can befriend or antagonize, whilst others are related to specific themes or topics that can explore the cyberpunk genre or culture. And there are even side quests that are related to specific activities or events that can offer fun or challenge for you. However, the introduction to the inner workings of Night City could have been better. I'm not sure if it's specific to the No Man background lore that I chose, but I was thrust with acronyms, jargon and slang that I didn't understand but sounded relevant to my character situation. This was a consistent theme throughout the main storyline that I just couldn't get behind. Comparing this to the hook of Sleeping Dogs, for example, where you start off the game on the run from the cops and eventually getting caught, you discover that your main character is working undercover to root out triad gangs and wants to remain doing so. Sleeping Dogs' context is slowly weaved into the clever but immediate hook, allowing you as the player to easily pick up and understand the fragile balance between law and organised crime. I found that this is a stark contrast to how Cyberpunk starts, where context is shoved into your face and assumes that you understand it. This for me is a large negative, as the most memorable games for me have been the most explosive impacts where you do not need to know the entire context of the game, you only need to know the context of the situation your character is in, which is then used as a basis to weave the storyline in. On the other hand, regarding Cyberpunk, there are some nice additional RPG elements within this game, such as contextual dialogue choices that result in different outcomes. For instance, in one of the side quests, I had to help a friend who was accused of murder by a corrupt cop. I had the option to either bribe the cop, intimidate him with my street cred, hack his terminal to expose his crimes, or fight him and his goons. Each option had different consequences for me and my friends, such as losing money, reputation, or allies. This made me feel more invested in my character and story, as well as making the game more challenging. As for Phantom Liberty, the storyline so far has been engaging and impactful, especially with the acting calibre of Idris Elba putting in the solid shift. I find that his character brings a strong degree of tension, which really adds to the weight of the choices. The storyline, however, is a little short here, and generally the DLC feels like something that acts as a short chapter that is critical to play during the main storyline. Moving on, let's talk about gameplay mechanics and systems. The game features various gameplay mechanics and systems that can provide different types of challenges and rewards for you. The game has a combat system that allows you to use firearms, melee weapons, stealth, hacking, or a combination of these methods to deal with enemies. As noted earlier, the game also has a hacking system that allows you to manipulate the environment and the devices connected to that network. On top of this, Cyberpunk also has a crafting system that allows you to create and upgrade your weapons, armour, consumables, and cyberware. The various vehicles allow you to travel around the city or engage with races or chases. These mechanics and systems can offer different levels of difficulty and complexity for you depending on your skills and preferences. A negative I found with the environment is that as much as Night City is brimming with life, sometimes you get a feeling that NPCs are soulless. You do not get as much NPC chatter as you think that you should in a game of this day and age, and even so, the level of NPC interaction beyond the important character is brief and meaningless. It would be nice to see more life and realism in the NPCs of Night City. This would make the city feel more alive and dynamic, and also create opportunities for you to interact with them or observe them. This is how I've experienced flow in Cyberpunk 2077 as a first time player post Phantom Liberty. The game offers a variety of gameplay options and choices that can suit different types of players and create different levels of challenge and skill. Flow is achieved when you are fully immersed in an activity that matches your skills and challenges, and I feel that Cyberpunk does deliver a positive flow that explains why players now love the game. Thank you for watching my video essay on Cyberpunk 2077. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something from it. If you did, please leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel for more video essays on gaming topics. Until next time, see you in Night City.